Around us, the economy is moving to a more continuous model, where people are continuously connected and business is continually changing and improving, where automation creates a seamless flow between ideas and new capabilities, and where insight helps you move fast, fail fast, and succeed faster.
We're all building this continuous economy together. How? By using the unlimited power of software to accelerate continuous innovation. By enabling developers to quickly create and push value to customers while receiving instant feedback about the impact of their work. And by exceeding customer expectations, so when they look for the next best thing, they already have it.
This continuous economy will place extreme demands on software delivery teams. Developers will require a better way to work, an approach where they have all the assets they need to be efficient and transparent with the business, acting as one team to ideate, develop, deliver, measure, analyze, and accelerate time to value.
This continuous economy mandates a new way of developing software, one that focuses on the entire end-to-end software development and delivery system. The goal? To enable developer creativity while making it possible for the business to govern the process, to give everyone an enterprise-wide single source of truth for processes and data.
Visibility is critical to delivering at the speed of business, where you must collect and develop meaningful metrics, gain fast insights into software delivery status, and confidently measure performance. This provides business agility, so operational and market-based decisions are made quickly.
We're on this journey together. And together we can continuously innovate, optimize, and discover new value. Let's all join together as we transform the world into a continuous economy.
Please welcome to the stage CloudBees CEO and co-founder, Sacha Labourey.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you today for this 2018 edition of DevOps World, Jenkins World. So, I want to talk about digital transformation and how Jenkins is typically used through those digital transformation and what we can learn about it. And then I'll talk about the future. But I'd like to start by talking about the last 12 months and what we've achieved at CloudBees. First of all, we've grown quite a bit. We've grown by more than 50% from a team standpoint. We're about 400 bees now. And not only that, but yeah. You're going to start thinking that everybody is just Jenkins, CloudBees employees, but that's not the case. So. But it's also the fact that we've attracted amazing talent, and I'm very proud we've been able to attract such talent. You know, I'm thinking about the Jenkins team with James Strachan, James Rowling, Rob Davis. I'm thinking about the CodeShip team with Mo, with Laura Frank, with Alex Tasho, Jim Schley. I'm talking about Christina. You'll hear about Christina in a minute, our new Chief Product Officer, and she's having a great impact on CloudBees, and you'll see that in a few minutes. It's also the culture we've built. We're a very distributed company. We're in 16 countries over 3 continents. And it keeps amazing me to think that we can be so distributed, but at the same time so aligned on delivering on the same mission. I would like to also talk about something I'm very proud about, which is all of the collaboration we have with companies across the globe in helping them achieve digital transformation. And what we're seeing in terms of digital transformation is happening across all verticals. It can be travel industry, it can be finance, it can be tech, it doesn't matter. Digital transformation is everywhere. There is one number I'd like to share with you. CloudBees is active in 43% of the Fortune 100. And we're not talking about tactical deployments here. We're talking, for the most part, about enterprise-wide deployments. So it's pretty amazing to see what we can collaborate on and do together. Very important as well are the partnership that CloudBees has built with some leading companies. You've seen some of them already today. And digital transformation typically happens not too far from cloud adoption. And so it was very important for us to make sure that we've built strong partnership with the leading cloud companies. So obviously the public cloud companies with AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, but also for hybrid deployments with Pivotal, VMware, Red Hat, and Lenovo. All right. CodeShip. I talked about CodeShip a few minutes ago, but it's not just a great team. It was also very important for us to have the CodeShip join us. We don't think that there is one way to do CI/CD. And some companies prefer to do CI/CD on-premise, while others in the cloud. Some might want to have a self-service environment or a self-manage. Some companies prefer to have opinionated approach, while others want to really customize the environment. And it was very important for us to have one of the leading SaaS, opinionated, self-service join CloudBees. And that way, whatever you want, however you want to get started on CI/CD, we have an option for you. But that doesn't just end there. We want to have your back on your DevOps journey, and so you can start with any of the CI/CD tool, from Jenkins to CodeShip, and then the rest of the CloudBees suite will help you achieve your wildest dream. We announced also a few months ago we had raised 62 million, and so that's a lot of money. So it was not just to buy cool sneakers. It was part of it. Actually, my CFO asked this week, he said, are those the same shoes as last year? I said, yes. And he said, oh, that's good. All right. So why raise that much money? Digital transformation are truly accelerating. And so it was important for us to be even more in the field to help companies achieve those digital transformation. If it was just about, throwing fantastic piece of code on companies and voila, they would be transformed, that would be a tad easy. It's actually really hard work, so it's important for us to be active with companies and collaborate with them. Also, we want to expand what we provide to organizations in terms of our product. And so you will see a lot more features, a lot more products coming your way from CloudBees. Last but not least, digital transformation are very hard. We talk about them almost like theoretical projects, but you have human being behind each and every project. And I'd like to thank you. You are the agents of change. You're making those digital transformations successful. So thanks a lot for being here, and thanks for everything you're doing in your organizations. Yeah, you can applaud yourself. All right, I'd like to talk a bit about the past now. Don't worry, I'll talk about the future in a minute. When we started back in 2010, we were a platform as a service. So everything we're doing was in the public cloud. We were actually the first platform as a service that would fulfill the entire application lifecycle. We could store code, do orchestration, so CI, CD, staging, deployment, scale, failover, the full enchilada. It was great. At least we thought it was great. It worked decently well, but customers would always tell us, look, we love it. We love the concept. We love the idea to iterate faster and to remove friction. That's great. However, can you do it on-premise, or can you do it on this path, or maybe can you do it on this cloud? So it was great, but it was never right. So in 2014, we decided to focus on the things that everybody loved, which was this increased velocity, continuous delivery. And so Now, for 8 years, we've been helping companies adopt CI/CD and Jenkins and go through their transformation. And over time, we've been solving very different problems. And we've seen those problems come in the same wave. And so what I'd like to do now is go through some of those problems, the problem we fixed over time. It's not so much because we think it matters to talk about CloudBees history, don't get me wrong. It's just because I think a lot of organizations actually go through exactly the same steps. And so my hope is that you will spot your own company at one of those steps, and that might help you go faster through your digital transformation. All right. The first one is what we call islands of CI. So that's typical of Jenkins, right? Bottom-up adoption, developers downloading Jenkins, putting it on a machine under the desk, and boom, voila, you've got a new Jenkins setup. And this is how a lot of the adoption of Jenkins takes place. And slowly, step by step, you've got your development processes that changes, right? What you were doing with scripts or manually before ends up being automated more and more. And at some point, without realizing it, you depend on Jenkins. If Jenkins is down, you can't apply those patches, and your team is pissed. And so some companies start reaching out to us at that point in time because they want to make sure they have peace of mind for what they now understand is a critical piece of their infrastructure. But life is not always so rosy. And so what we see a lot is the Jenkins guy. The Jenkins guy is this Jenkins superstar. He's devoted to making Jenkins great in his team. And people know that. And so it's one team, and then a second team comes in and says, hey, can I get help? Can I move my project there? Sure, why not? 2, 5, 10 projects, 20 projects. And you end up with this gigantic Jenkins master that's hosting all kinds of projects. We've got a name for that. We call it the Frankenstein Jenkins. So this Frankenstein is bloated. And you know, it's great that Jenkins has more than 1,400 plugins, but you're not supposed to install 1,400 plugins. You know that. It's a big no-no. And yet, we see it everywhere, right? So it started with a project doing mobile development, and then, oh, let's do Java and .NET. And by the way, we can do some run on HPUX for that team. And it makes no sense, right? So this Jenkins becomes bloated, slow to start. When it crashes, it takes forever to start. Hundreds of developers are pissed. And nobody wants to fix that, because you touch it, you own it, right? But it's crazy, because you would never, ever do that for any piece of critical infrastructure in your organization. Would you do that for your application server? Would you dump 600 applications on WebLogic and see what it gives? Would you do that with your CMS, with your firewall? Makes no sense, right? Yet, because of the bottom-up adoption of Jenkins, we see that everywhere. I'd like to get a show of hand who has or who had a Frankenstein Jenkins in their organization. Sales, can you take pictures? Thank you. All right, that's what we saw with CloudBees Core, right? Getting to a healthy place. All right. Enough with Frankenstein. Half of the room is freaked out now. What's the next step? Well, the next step, for the most part, is nothing. For a while. It can last quite a while. You know, it's amazing to have this bottom-up adoption take place. And people want to do more. People in the field really want to improve. But unless there is a top-down initiative to really have a digital transformation, it's very hard. You can't solve your silo. You can't remove really friction. So status quo. And frankly, we've pitched hundreds of companies on their digital transformation, and software is eating the world, and you need to move, and blah, blah, blah. But fact is, it's a nice story, but you know, people don't necessarily move. And so either you're a fast mover, you're an early mover, and you understand this, and you're going to move forward. But lots of organizations, the only thing that makes them move is competition. One day, you have a maverick company enter your space leverage software to be better, and that's a big wake-up call. Anyway, when top-down and bottom-up meet, great things can happen. And so that's when organizations start thinking about how they can enable developers, empower developers, not just a cool team, but everybody to be more efficient. And then the balance is, how do you actually enable and give flexibility to your team so they can do whatever they need to do, but at the same time still get central economy of scale so you can manage this fleet efficiently. So this is what we do with CloudBees Core again, right? It's managing this infrastructure at scale and making sure that all of those teams, all of those projects are nimble and efficient and not a big Frankenstein. A lot of organizations stop at this point, but the reality is that in some cases, infrastructure scale is actually the easiest problem to solve. You have cloud, you have containers, so you can get a lot through that. The next step that's very important in your story is logical scale. So what is logical scale? Logical scale is about printing your DNA into your software factory. Every company is different. The way your teams operate, do they need to be isolated to collaborate? When? Why? How is your environment? Do you have staging, production? Can anybody push things to production? How does that work? That's your DNA. And your DNA is going to define what software you build. And so just thinking that because you throw resources, enough resources to your teams, they're just going to be good enough, that's not going to work. Because anything else you're going to be building on top, any intelligence you'll be able to extract from those teams will depend on the logical view, on the topology you have imprinted in your factory. The next step is getting visibility and insights. I'm always amazed by the belief that companies have that once they transform, they'll be better off. And it's a good belief, because it's true, they'll be better off. Except that once they've transformed, the question becomes, how much better are we? Are we really better? And is everybody better? Maybe we have some teams still facing issues. Maybe we can further improve. And unless you get clear visibility into your teams, the velocity of those teams, and where issues are, there is no way you can improve. So DevOps is for us the feedback loop that enables this improvement. The next step is cloud. So some companies make the move to cloud as part of the infrastructure scale. Some do it after. Doesn't really matter. I think the cloud is an amazing use case for CI/CD. CI/CD is by definition very spiky loads. Sometimes you have a lot, sometimes you don't have much. And so it's a great use case for cloud. Plus, you don't need to deploy to the cloud necessarily. You can do build and test in the cloud, so consume those resources, and then deploy wherever you want to deploy, internally, for example. And it means that as companies get used to the cloud, they need to learn how it works and build their know-how. It's a great use case for that. That's why our software is fully certified on all of the cloud layers and all of the partnership I've shown before. And DevOps is a SaaS. But that's typically only the first step in cloud adoption. What we see typically is that at some point, companies understand that they want to use the cloud not just as a pool of resources, but really as a destination for their application. So they start building new applications, and guess what? They love it. It's cool to develop in the cloud. You get lots of services for free. If you touched Kubernetes once in your life, it's hard to move back, right? And so what we've built is a tool that answers a request we're seeing a lot, which is, OK, we've done new application, it's great, but now we want to do more. And we're not just going to develop net new applications. We want to lift and shift existing applications and migrate them to the cloud. So that's what we're doing, and you're going to see that more with kubectl based on Jenkins X. Christina is going to be talking about that with the team. And this is really something very important to accelerate, to fast forward your journey to the cloud. All right, so Now I'd like to do a little pause, if you don't mind. We've talked about DevOps. What I'd love to do is hear about your stories. And not any story. I would like to hear about the stories that you laugh about now, but maybe back then you didn't quite laugh about, right? What we call the DevOps with 2O, all right? So by tonight, please tweet your best horror stories, your best Frankenstein stories on DevOps with the DevOps tag and Jenkins World tag. And if you win, you get to win those fantastic shoes, right? So that's a good point, what size. So it's supposed to be fun. It's not a punishment, right? So you're going to get your own shoes, all right? All right. Let's talk about the future, what's coming up. And first, I'd like to talk about our vision of the future. Our vision of the future is that every company is a software company. Companies that will not become software company will simply vanish. And it's not just about companies becoming software companies. It's actually developers, the notion of developers and who can have an impact thanks to software. The number of those people who can have an impact will increase a lot. And the way you can visualize this is all of those streams of changes, all of those parallel streams, constantly changing the value of the company, right? It's not a big, an elite team releasing a big batch project every 18 months. We're talking about constant stream of changes coming up from all parts of the organization. That's where we're going. That's our belief. And now I'd like to talk about something that might surprise you a bit. It's CRM. So I know DreamWorks is next week, right? So I made no confusion here. But I find the CRM space extremely interesting. If you think about CRM and where it started, it was complicated, heavy software. Nobody liked it. Nobody installed it even. Everybody hated CRMs. And then a transformation took place. A new way of doing it came up. And now it's the leading edge example of a great software as a service, right? And I think that the software release process, software delivery process, actually shares a lot of similarities with the CRM space. If you think about CRM and what they are today, they are one of the key repository, one of the key system of record of any organization. You have the HR system, you have ERPs, you have CRM, you have a few others, but you have very few repositories in an organization that are so important. You're going to get out of your CRM key predictability out of your performance, right? So it's a very important system. So how does that compare between software delivery and CRM? Let's talk about individual contributors. Yes, I'm doing a comparison between a sales rep and a developer. Absolutely. So they're not quite the same. We all agree on that. But actually, they share a lot of common behavior. They like to be empowered. They don't like to be told what to do, right? They don't like to have prescriptive solution. That's who they are. And if you talk to their bosses, you will also spot some similarities. You will see that they have to manage this creativity. They have to empower their teams. But at the same time, their job is to make sure they have visibility and that they enforce some processes so that they can be predictable as well. So you can find lots of similarities between those two worlds. And it's not just those two worlds. It's essentially any place where you have lots of creativity within an enterprise. You have this natural tension, that game almost, between creativity on one hand and the other, managing this creativity to make sure you do the right thing. And that's why our mission at CloudBees is to provide the backbone that enables this to happen. On one hand, empowering developers, making sure they can be creative, while at the same time letting companies innovate by preserving their constraints, their policies, right? Their governance, essentially. That's what needs to achieve. They need to achieve. And if you go too far to the right, if you put too many controls in place, you're going to kill creativity. Your developers are going to find it boring, and they're going to move on. If you move too much to the left, and you give too much freedom to developers, and you don't do any check of any kind, you're likely going to end up on CNN one day. And that's not the only thing that links CRMs to software delivery. Jenkins, CI/CD, it's really the hub of DevOps. And it's an amazing place to be. Just think about what you can observe from that central location. You can see who is doing what, as part of what team, for what project, the reaction to what ticket, what kind of test it went through, what was the output of those tests, where is it being deployed? In multiple applications? What's the output of those applications? Is it going faster or slower than it was? All of that information can be collected from that central location. Yet today, all of that information is just lost in the ether. Nobody cares about it. And that's not fine, because that's a key information as part of what companies are doing. It's software, right? We're all software companies. So at CloudBees, we're building the CRM of software delivery. We're building these key repositories that will hold key aspects of everything you're doing in software. It makes it possible for you to query this information, to extend this information, but also implement the processes that you need to make sure you have proper governance. And so our vision is that much like you need to have CRMs, ERPs, HR systems as core repositories, you will need to have CloudBees as a core CRM of your software delivery process. And if we look at the impact of this, we're talking about continuous delivery. But the impact of continuous delivery goes well beyond software. What is the impact of continuous delivery? We can actually have all of those millions of parallel threads of changes going to production. And that's amazing. But it means that we are actually continuously delivering value it's not changing, sorry about that. We're constantly delivering value to our applications. So if you think about your company as a shape, right, that morphs based on the changes you're bringing to your assets, right? It used to move in a relatively slow fashion, right? Maybe 18 months, you had some changes, and it was a slow morphing. But now with all of those changes, this shape is constantly changing. You're constantly bringing new value to production. You're constantly evolving as an organization. Every day, you are a different company. Think about cars. When you used to buy a car on day one, on day 2000, you had the same car, well, pretty much. Now, if you buy a modern car on day one, every month, you're getting software upgrades. You're getting changes, new features. The value of your car evolves after you bought it. What it means is that it's essentially changing the dynamic of the value of your assets. And so continuous delivery is not just impacting software. Continuous delivery is actually impacting the business models of all organizations. And we're seeing this as a continuous economy. We think that continuous delivery is at the root of a new economy that we call the continuous economy. And CloudBees and CloudBees Core and the CloudBees Suite is powering this continuous economy. Thank you. So, to talk more specifically about what I've just described, I'd like to welcome on stage Rajeev Mahajan, Global Head of Service Integration and DevOps Engineering at HSBC.
We are living in a time of rapid digital change, where the only limits are the scale of our ideas and degree of our dedication. The technology ideas of today will be the intuitive habits of tomorrow. Never before has innovation promised so much, touching so many, in so many different ways. Our frontier is financial technology. It's changing the way we work, make money, and the way we trust each other. To succeed, we need to adopt the mindset of the Silicon Hubs of the world and create an incubator of free thinkers, thought leaders, innovators born of collaborative spirit, all fueled by a belief that technology will enhance our customers' financial lives. To imagine a future beyond what we already know, creating a team with the power to transform the world's leading financial enterprise. We are technology.
Thank you, Sacha. Thank you.
Welcome, Rajeev.
Wow. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Wow. It's amazing to be here today. Thanks, Sacha, for inviting me. It's a pleasure, and I'm very excited to be here. Sacha, I will be very honest on your question of how CloudBees Jenkins is helping us in our transformation journey. Please don't expect any sugar-coated answer here. Actually, you have created more problems for us. With the help of CloudBees Jenkins and other tools, our developer productivity and efficiency has increased. So we have another problem, which is actually a good problem to have, but how to keep them busy, right? So
I was afraid for a while, so yeah, thank you.
So quite honestly, we are delivering more for our customers with better quality. For example, last year, our retail banking digital team actually delivered more than 100 features for our customer. On behalf of our developer community, I will actually like to thank CloudBees Jenkins team for amazing work you guys are doing for our developer community. Thank you. So, So just a quick business and technology context on who we are. We are the world's largest international bank, and we are a 150-year-old organization with presence in 67 countries and over 38 million customers. Now the technology landscape. With 40,000 colleagues in technology, we serve 4 business divisions, which are retail banking and wealth management, global banking and markets, global private banking, and commercial banking. We started our transformation journey almost 3 years back. We had all inherent challenges of a large and complex enterprise. We embarked our journey of transformation by focusing on these key tech stacks: mobile, API, cybersecurity, cloud, and heritage technologies. We enabled our transformation journey by pulling many levers. And one of the significant levers for us was DevOps enablement, or DevOps foundation services, which included mindset and culture shift, retooling the entire organization with the modern set of DevOps tools, pushing towards a learning organization, a self-learning organization, and re-engineering our processes to be super simple and nimble. So just talking about our DevOps journey, I'm sure most of the organizations with similar scale and complexity as us have gone through the similar journey when we had siloed dev and ops, far too many manual interventions, and complex integration and deployment processes. So, and then moving on, we had an interim stage automation by putting the right DevOps tools, retraining our resources, and re-engineering our processes. So what is our current state of play? This is what our current state of play is right now, where we have got fully automated CI/CD pipelines. We treat our DevOps function as a meta engineering function to provide best-in-class development services and experience for our developers. We can now release and deploy at will and on demand. We have got our MTTR, mean time to recover, significantly reduced. And all of this is byproduct of getting the mechanics of DevOps correct. With the capability of automated CI, our developers are living fail-fast culture every day. Every time a build fails due to any reason, like integration test failure, or performance test failure, or regression test failure, or a security scan, developers are notified instantly. And this, in turn, triggers a healthy collaboration and communication between the team members, and ultimately giving us a positive shift left. We have devised a way to measure our shift leftness and gamified this across the teams. Our teams are actually now working on adding more features for our customers faster, rather than spending time and energy on debugging and troubleshooting activities. Finally, from the last-minute release chaos dance, we are moving towards smoother ways of working and frictionless ways of working. On a lighter note, maybe I'd like to enable teams so that we can start releasing the things sitting from the beach. So definitely, lovely. So definitely, this is not the destination, but the journey continues. We'll keep evolving. So what's next for us? We have taken a big leap towards cloud enablement. And again, some of the levers, which I guess some of the presenters have already spoken about. So some of the key levers in the journey, which are very important for us, are containerization and Kubernetes, and both acting as common denominator for being cloud agnostic. Since our workloads are going to evolve, we don't want our pipelines, we don't want our CI/CD to be static. We want our pipelines to be thinking pipelines. We want our pipelines to be intelligent. We want our pipelines to be context-aware. And we want to bake a level of artificial intelligence within our pipelines. Right. So this is what summarizes our DevOps journey. So after doing all this, what is the impact of it? What is our transformation has actually brought us? Right. We are delivering more features for our customers faster. Our IT cost has gone down. Our error rates have gone down. Our service quality is now significantly improved. Just to summarize, we have come a long way in our journey of tech transformation towards agility, velocity, quality, and innovation. At HSBC, where we aim to create healthiest human system for our customers and colleagues, we aim to provide the best development experience for our developers. And last but not the least, we also want to focus our energies in co-creating some of these futuristic experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajeev. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And we're very much aligned, as you know, with your vision of cloud and Kubernetes. And I'm very happy to say that we're going to be collaborating on a common program called Co-Creation Labs together to work together on those problems of cloud and Kubernetes, especially with kubectl, and looking at how we can improve developer experience. So very happy about this collaboration.
No, absolutely. We look forward to work together. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.